Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea foundation. So without further ado, here is my review. So this is the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Water Foundation with Broad Spectrum SPF 15 sunscreen, and this is $39 at Sephora. I think they have it at Ulta as well, but I was really curious to try this because I watched a lot of videos where it just looked really intriguing, and I'll be honest, this is the real reason why I'm testing out this foundation. Do you guys ever get obsessed with somebody like on Instagram or something and you're like stalking them, you see all their posts and you just like are obsessed with them for a little bit? So that's how I got over this person. You're gonna think this is weird, but do you watch Real Housewives of New Jersey? If yes, you remember Dina, who was on it kind of in the earlier seasons. And when she was on it, she had a daughter who was really younger at the time, and her name was Lexi. Now she's 21, and I follow her on Instagram. Her Instagram is Boho Chicken, and that's also the name of her blog. I think it's bohochicken.com. But anyway, her skin always looks amazing in pictures, so I was really curious what foundation she used, and I saw she talked about on her Instagram stories and then also on her blog that this was the foundation. So that really just was the straw that broke the camel's back and made me want to buy it, so that's why we're testing it out today. And to be honest, I've been using this foundation for a few days now and I really like it. Also, I got the shade Fair Light Neutral, which is a tad dark for me, but I think it's an okay match. It kind of blends in okay in the end, but I could have gone probably one or two shades lighter, but this one had the best undertones for me when I was testing all these shades in Sephora. And all the reviews that I watched on YouTube of this foundation, people really had great success using it with a brush. So that's how I used it the first time I used it. I applied it with this is the MAC, I don't know what number this is, but it's one of these brushes that looks like a artiste brush. So I tried it with that first because that's my favorite brush for blending out foundation, but nothing really beats the Beauty Blender. So I was finding that that still kind of left me a little streaky, and I was going back over it with the Beauty Blender anyway. So finally I just used it with just the Beauty Blender, no brush, and for me it works a lot better. I was a little worried since it's a water foundation that the dampness of the Beauty Blender would kind of counteract the foundation, but for me it looks beautiful, so that's what we're gonna do today. Of course, my only qualm with this foundation is the weird dropper like applicator thing, and for me 2 full pump dropper fulls or whatever is the perfect coverage for my face. So I'm just taking the first one down the T-zone and then I'll do a second one onto my cheeks. But it's just really messy and it's kind of hard to pump it out, especially if you have long nails. I had longer nails when I first got this and it just was kind of tricky to do, but it's a little easier now that I'm used to it, but still like a different, applicator would have been a little better. And I also just want to mention quickly, I did prep my skin with the Kiehl's Daily Reviving Concentrate as my primer, and that's it. So really I just have skincare on under here, no primer or anything fancy. So as you can see with just one quick coat, it really does kind of blend in and look skin-like and gives you like a really fresh finish. And I was a little skeptical because it is such a watery consistency if it would be able to like really give me the coverage that I wanted, because I really do favor a more full coverage foundation. Like if I'm going to be wearing foundation, it might as well cover everything. So I was super impressed with this. It really does cover, and I find it to be quite buildable as well. So that's the foundation applied and all blended in with just 2 pumps full, and I'm really impressed with the coverage. I'm going to try to get a little closer here so you guys can see my cheeks. And this is where I have a lot of like discoloration and a few like spots at the moment, like particularly this dark one, but I'm really impressed with the coverage. Like I have another spot down here and it really kind of masks them. If it was any more full coverage, I think that the formula would be cakey. So I'm super impressed for such a thin, like watery foundation that it really gives this much coverage while still also looking really like fresh and skin-like and not too cakey and like you have a thick cream foundation on. So this is it all blended in. And now that you've seen what it looks like with just the foundation on, I'm going to go ahead and finish up the rest of my makeup and then be right back. Alright, so this is the finished look with all the rest of my makeup done, and just so you know, I set my foundation with the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in the shade Light Plus, just because this is my all-time favorite powder. It's my go-to, and it's the one that I always try to use when I'm testing out and reviewing a new foundation, because it's kind of like the measuring stick which I use to judge all foundations, because it's just my favorite, it keeps my foundation in place, and I really like it, and it's a good color match. So that's what I used to set it, and then I kind of finished up with blusher, bronzer, and all the rest. And I love the finish of this foundation. I'll come in a little closer just so you can see. It really looks nice, especially around my nose. I'm really impressed because I have a lot of texture on my nose and it's really not clinging to it. And then once again around like my chin and this cheek, especially where there's a lot of discoloration and blemishes, it's really kind of concealing it well. I like the amount of coverage it has. Again, it's not too cakey. I think it looks very skin-like and nice and fresh, and I just love the way that this foundation has turned out. So I'm going to do a wear test for the rest of the day right now. It is about noon, so I'll check back in a few hours and we'll see how it's looking. It's been about 4 hours since I last saw you guys and when I applied this makeup, and I've been running around doing some errands. I ate lunch, and so far the makeup's holding up really well. I filmed this clip already and there was weird like brightness from the sun on my face, so you couldn't really see the true like effect of the foundation, but I'll kind of bring the camera closer and hopefully you can see like around my nose and my smile lines, it's not separating at all. It does look greasy overall, but I do have oily skin, so I kind of expect that, and since I haven't touched up at all, of course it's going to look really greasy, but I'm really impressed with how this foundation is holding up. But it is a cold day today, and I did spend most of the day like indoors or in my car, so I wasn't out in like bright hot sun or anything. So I think maybe on like a summer day this would definitely be a lot greasier and probably be separating, but so far it's not separating and I haven't touched up, and I'm really impressed with this foundation. It's now been 9 hours since I applied this foundation, and obviously I'm looking very greasy because I have not touched up once. And for me, my skin is very oily, so I always touch up during the day, but I haven't touched this at all because I wanted it to be a true wear test for you guys. And obviously I'll pull you in a little closer, like around my nose it's kind of separating because I have a lot of texture on my nose, and around my mouth because I was eating Taco Bell and my dog was licking me. But for me, this held up really well, and if I just blotted this with my beauty blender, the finish is still really nice and natural and skin-like. And to me, the separation isn't so gross that it just looks like my foundation is like coming off in chunks. This is something that I could very easily touch up. So for me, with oily skin that's a little bit drier in the winter right now, this is working very well, but I probably wouldn't recommend this if you have super oily skin or if you're trying to wear this in the dead of summer in hot sun. But I really like it, and for me it's kind of hard to find foundations that have a good color match and SPF in them, and this one definitely does. So I'm definitely enjoying this foundation, and I would give it a thumbs up, especially if you have more normal or dry skin. And I just came into the other room quickly to kind of blot my whole face with the Beauty Blender, and as you can see, the lighting is still really unflattering, but once I blotted it, this foundation does still look really good. I don't look like such a like greasy, disgusting mess, and hopefully you can tell now this just kind of made it so the foundation isn't so like separated looking, and this foundation didn't separate in a bad way where it's like beyond repair and you can't touch up, because some foundations do that. So I am still really impressed with the finish, and I just didn't want you guys to think it was like totally a greasy sliding mess and I was just delusional in the last clip. Alright guys, that's it for this review of the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea foundation. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video and seeing how the foundation applied and how it wore throughout the day. I'm absolutely loving this foundation at the moment, and I would definitely recommend it. It's probably not for everyone, but for me it's really working on my skin and not irritating it. So as always, I'm uploading 2 days a week at the minute on Monday and Thursday, so please subscribe if you haven't already, and thank you so much for watching.